Here in the studio we have the latest offering from Stan Solo Creations, the Star Wars Rebel Fleet Trooper. And this is yet another amazing product from Stan Solo. So let's take a look at it. Stay tuned.
Come with me, toy fans.
Hey toy fans, my name is Tony and welcome back to the Analog Toys YouTube channel. The Rebel Fleet Troopers were the first people that we saw in the original Star Wars film from 1977, defending the corridors of the Tantive 4, the Rebel blockade runner. And their omission from the original Kenner Star Wars line is one of the biggest misses in the range, and I would argue an even bigger omission than Grand Moff Tarkin. Over the course of the first three original trilogy Star Wars movies, the accompanying Kenner toy line offered a lot of troopers for us to build our armies with. And I'm specifically talking about troopers. I know you can army build pilots and aliens and things like that, but I'm specifically looking at troopers here. And from the Imperial perspective, the first film offered us the ubiquitous Stormtrooper. And then obviously later down the line, when the Power of the Force range came out, you could also add the Death Star gunner to that roster. The Empire Strikes Back gave us the Snowtrooper, and Return of the Jedi gave us the Emperor's Royal Guard and the Biker Scout. But when it came to the Rebels in the Kenner Star Wars line, we were only offered troopers from the second and third movies. From the Empire Strikes Back we got the Hoth Rebel Soldier, and from Return of the Jedi we got the Rebel Commando. And yet the Rebel troopers that appeared in the original Star Wars film were the Rebel Fleet troopers who were aboard the Tantive 4, but these figures were never produced by Kenner back in the day. And this is one of the things that I think is so wonderful about Stan Solo Creations. The company is led by a true Star Wars fan who understands where the gaps are in our vintage collections and works tirelessly to fill those gaps for us. There's not much I can say about this Rebel Fleet Trooper that I haven't said about every other Stan Solo Star Wars figure that I've reviewed on this channel so far. As always, they have nailed that Kenner design aesthetic, capturing that late 70s, early 80s style of the Star Wars toy line. From the boots, to the pants, to the shirt, to the waistcoat, to his egg-shaped helmet. This figure is an accurate representation of the troopers that appeared in the film, but much like Kenner did back in the day, Stan Solo have dialed up a few of the colours here and there, with the shirt in particular looking a lot more blue than it did on screen back in 1977. And I think that's a good choice when you're trying to make a figure look quite toyetic. The figure is also armed with a Rebel blaster, and Stan Solo Creations have reimagined this for the 3 3/4 inch line, because this blaster, it was carried by a number of different action figures during the original run. But this new Stan Solo version of the Rebel blaster is more accurate to what appeared on film in Star Wars, as opposed to the Rebel blaster produced by Kenner. As with the majority of action figures offered by Stan Solo Creations, these can be purchased on their website either loose or carded. And for the packaged version, Stan Solo have yet again created a wonderful retro-styled card back that really evokes those very early years of Kenner Star Wars. This is a 21 back card, and I feel they've selected the perfect image to go on the card next to the bubble holding the figure, with this image depicting two of the Rebel Fleet Troopers defending the corridors of the Rebel blockade runner just prior to them being overrun by Imperial forces. Now, with this being a troop builder, a lot of people are going to want to buy multiple figures, which is why I think it was very smart on the part of Stan Solo to design this figure with two gripping hands. A lot of the action figures in the original Kenner Star Wars run had completely useless left hands, or in some cases right hands, which meant if they were carrying a blaster or a rifle or a lightsaber, they could only hold it in their right hand. But because this Rebel Fleet Trooper has two gripping hands, it can really change up the look of a small squad of these figures by having one or two of the figures be left-handed and the rest of the troopers being right-handed. It's a very minor detail, but a very important one. Each time Stan Solo Creations develops a new custom style Star Wars figure, they shoot for the moon and they hit the target every single time. And this is another one of those occasions. So if you want to bolster the ranks of your Kenner Star Wars Rebel fleet, then head over to the Stan Solo website today and pick up a couple of these action figures for yourself. I promise you won't be disappointed. I'm also going to be reviewing the new Stan Solo Creations Dagobah Training Luke when it arrives, and I'm going to be incorporating that review into a much larger video covering all of the Star Wars Dagobah toys that Kenner produced back in the 1980s. So make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit the bell notification so that you're notified when that video drops.
Do or do not. There is no try.
So thank you all for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, you can click the links up here to check out some of our other video reviews of Stan Solo action figures. Or subscribe to the channel by clicking here, or consider supporting us on Patreon, where you'll get access to hours of exclusive content. I'm Tony from Analog Toys, and I'll see you in the next video.